So don't throw those things up. Flash intros, I firmly believe that only Flash developers should use Flash intros, and those guys should put them in their portfolio. They should not be preloading. It's just not a good thing to do. Pop-ups, pop-unders, pop-behinds, pop-whatevers. My biggest pet peeve in the world is when I'm trying to leave a site and it's saying, are you sure you want to go? Are you sure you want to go? Don't miss this, don't miss this. Okay, there are internet marketers out there, content, guys that are selling ebooks and crap like that that swear by this, and it works, honestly. I will say that in some areas it works for certain kinds of people, but for the most part, it's going to turn me off. I'm going to decline your application because you're creating a bad customer experience for me.
Define excessive.
More than one?
Any.
Yeah, any, I mean,
This exit pops up.
yeah,
Most of the PPC companies are going to disapprove your site.
right,
And they won't tell you why, and you'll be left wondering. And if Google disapproves the use of AdWords for someone who has exit popped up,
right,
you can imagine that it must be some kind of factor in their
Right.
SEO determination also.
Right.
So you're just shooting yourself in the foot by doing junky tactics like
yeah,
that.
and
It's a bad taste.
a lot of people use this for pretty untoward stuff too. They use it for forced clicks and things like that, where they're tagging somebody to their affiliate link, and we can tell when it's happening. We see artificially high click rates with our conversion rate going through the floor, and if you got approved and start doing it, you're going to get fired. And in most cases, it's going to keep you from getting approved, because if I see it when I go to a site, if I get a couple pop-ups or whatever, I'm going to be like, I think I'm just going to pass. Rejection happens all the time. I get rejected all the time for programs that I apply for, and I put some of these into play, if not most of them. It's kind of funny the way that the whole thing goes down, because there's some people that get approved like 100% of the time. The people that come back calmly and say, hey, just applied for your program. You turned me down for whatever reason. Here's what I really want to do. I love what you're doing there, and I really want to work with you. In that case, you got some passion for what I do. I'm crazy not to work with you. And I'll probably even sit down with you and say, hey, let's take a look at what you're trying to do. I'll give you some tips. We'll try to get you started because you cared enough to come back to me in a cool way and say, hey, let's work together. If you come back and say, hey, asshole, I'm never going to work with your company, and I get this. And I don't even have like a really negative letter. I'd say, hey, we've took a look at the information that you supplied in your application, and based on my review, it doesn't look like we're a good fit to work together right now. If you think that this is a mistake, we're human, we make mistakes, shoot me a note, let's talk about it. But we still get really negative stuff every once in a while, and that person's never, ever in a million years going to get approved, regardless of how promising they might be, because they've shown that they're unprofessional. Yeah.
Can I add to that?
Yeah.
I do a lot of affiliate stuff too. Affiliate managers talk to affiliate managers.
Yes.
We know each other. We know how to help each other. As soon as we get somebody who's that rude, we're immediately on the phone. We're immediately in our group going, avoid this person.
Right.
If you see this person coming in, especially if they see a photo affiliate phone, we talk to each other too.
Yeah. So just be cool.
Not stop there.
Yeah. Just be cool with it. Come back and say, hey, this is what I want to do. This is how I'm looking to promote the program. Can we give it another look? And like I said, almost 100% of the time, I'll say, hey, cool, let's give it a shot and see what happens. Pick up the phone. If you can find contact information for the affiliate manager, give us a call and say, hey, this is what I want to do. If you call me up on the phone and you're not completely in opposition to the way I run my program or the way that my company makes me do things, I'm probably going to work with you because you showed a lot of initiative by doing that. Never lash out. In the end, just make sure that you realize that this is a business decision. It's nothing personal at all. All that we can base our reviews on is what you gave us. And so if you give bad information in your application and we act on that and make a business decision, you can't really get mad at us for doing that. Okay? And it's a business decision on your part too. If somebody turns you down, go find out who their competitor is. Work with them. It works both ways. If the rejections persist, then you probably have to look internally a little bit. There might be something that you're not doing right. You might need some help with structuring your sites, building out some content. There's some really cool resources. We just talked about these a little bit earlier. Blogging ABCs, affiliate ABCs, geekcast.fm, Extra Money Answer, that's Sean's site that I think is really cool because he's writing an online book based on the questions that people send him about affiliate marketing, which I think is all free, not charging anything. This is not one of those, we'll charge you a bunch of money to help you not get rich quick. This industry is really amazing with how willing people are to help other people out. Experienced affiliates might not show you all the good stuff, but if you build relationships with people, chances are you're going to be able to get some stuff you can work with, and people will give you some guidance. I know I have a closed Facebook group for my affiliates at Fanatics. There is a ton of people helping other people out. People saying, "Hey, I just launched this new site. What do you think?" I know that not all affiliates are into doing that stuff, but if you are, cool. Work in community. It's you can. It's really kind of a paying it forward thing. At some point, it'll all come back to you. Affiliate Summit Forum. I have a forum there, and I need to spend more time there in reality, but it's a good place if you wanted to go in there and say, "Hey, can you take a look at my site and I'm getting denied a lot, can you tell me what I'm doing wrong, give me some tips?" You'll get people that'll give you feedback. A-Best Web as well. A-Best Web, better have a raincoat on. The feedback might not be phrased quite as politely as it would be at the other one, but there'll be some good stuff there. And that's how to get a hold of me. But in general, what I'm really looking for is just people to bring some passion to the game, bring some content, and we can see what happens. I'm pretty open-minded as long as you work within the restrictions that I have. And like I said, I'm pretty tight on stuff, so if you can get applications past me, almost everybody out there is going to be a breeze. Questions? Yeah.
I have about a dozen sites
Okay.
already existing, have content, all unique content. But they're broken down into probably 3 separate, what I would call niches.
Okay.
Some are grouped here and there. If I were to sign up for a network, should I do it separately for the 3 different niches, or can I just sign up for a network as just me and then as I apply it?
I would sign up with one account and then I would just enter in those additional sites, because like in your case, if you applied for my program and you had 12 sites in there, I would get a list to show me all the different sites you have.
Okay.
So in that case, I'm going to be able to see that, hey, she's got 3 sites that might work out really well for me.
Okay, so I feel like someone would look at that.
Right.
And, okay, great, thank you.
Yeah.
Your thing about the privacy on domain,
Uh-huh.
I think you're totally wrong about that. For if somebody does have privacy, there's an email address right there that even with the privacy, you email that and it forwards it to their correct email address.
Like I said,
And then most of the time, when people do have, not most of the time, but everybody I know who doesn't do privacy, they use fake WHOIS information anyway. So
you'd be surprised how much of that stuff's still pretty accurate. It might just be who you run with, but what?
like most of the privacy ones, before you denied somebody just because of that,
Right.
maybe you should try emailing them at the address, and see if they actually respond, because then you know they're going to respond.
Right, and like I said, that's totally a company by company thing. Everybody's got their own opinion on it, and everybody's got their own policy towards it. Mine is the way it is, because we have specific reasons for it. But I mean, it's certainly, I've emailed people on this. I've never gotten an email back from somebody that I emailed that way. I've tried.
I was going to say the same thing.
Yeah.
And I understand the perspective when you're on the other side saying, "Hey, I'm here, just contact me." But if you were in Wade's shoes or my shoes and you chased people for years, and 99 times out of 100 you got no answer,
That's fine.
every once in a while when you did get an answer, it was something laced with profanity,
Yeah.
you just say, "You know what? This is a common technique used by people I don't want to work with." It doesn't mean that everyone...
Right, and if that's your experience,
Yeah.
I get it. I'm just saying.
It's almost a profa.
I'm going to give
Yeah.
you a funny experience. I've had people that I've accepted into the program that I haven't been able to get in touch with when I was managing a few different programs that I actually had checks for, that I wanted to give them their
Right.
money, and I couldn't even get in touch with them to give them their money.
Right. Yeah.
Another reason to do it is your copyright. If you ever end up having somebody who's gonna come
Yep.
up with that name, you don't own that name unless you've got some
Right.
string there that you can show them.
Right.
That's a private ownership.
Yeah.
If I had a site, a negative site, Fire Bobby Mountain,
Uh-huh.
would you approve those, or would you worry about if someone gets mad at you?
We actually have some negative sites that actually do business. A lot of it depends on how you go about it. I mean, if you're, it depends on how brutal you are, and that's going to be a case-by-case basis, but sites like that get traffic. I mean, in sports, sports talk radio is all about people getting on and ranting about their teams, Controversy in sports works as long as it doesn't go too far over the top to the point where my bosses would say, hey, we really don't want to, this is getting really profane, we don't want to have our brand on
Wade,
this.
if you could mix those two issues together, if you said someone has a negative site
Uh-huh.
and they have their public information is there, would that make you more likely to
Yeah.
with them than someone who was,
Yeah, transparency would be big.
when you're anonymous like that, those of us that have been in the industry for a long time, there's just so much risk in dealing with someone you just don't know who they are.
Right.
So it's not always the flavor of their site.
Right. And to me, I mean, in most cases, my opinion on the thing is that we're all grown-ups, we're doing business together, we should be able to know who the others are. There have been other affiliate forums that I've not engaged with fully in the past because everybody is hiding behind pseudonyms. And I always considered it to be kind of petty. You know, that's just my personal opinion. But if I'm doing business with you, if you're making money working with me, I'd kind of like to know who you are. And I put my information out there, so I expect the same. Anything else?
Lend credibility to the person and get
Sure.
them back on the track.
References are awesome. Just coming back to me and with your concept is gonna go a long way. If it's combined with the transparency that I was talking about, that'll usually get you in. If I feel in any way sketchy about the situation, if it just doesn't look right to me, I'm not gonna put my job on the line to get you in the door so you can get me in trouble. And so, you know,
Especially when you have affiliates like
yeah,
this.
especially when I have high maintenance affiliates like Missy in there. But yeah, I mean, in general, I mean, so much of this is done by feel. I mean, it's done by experience and just saying, hey, this is the profile of somebody that usually does a good job for me. They've got a site that's related to what I do. I can get in touch with them. And if I look at their site, maybe they're working with some similar sites, they're working with some competitors, they know how to put their links up. I know that if I approve you, chances are you're gonna have a pretty good chance of making me look good. If I think you've got a chance of making me look really bad, well, I'm risk averse like that, you know?
Yeah, I'm not even, I'm at the starting.
Sure.
line, okay? And I'm trying to figure all this stuff out.
Mhm.
Now, I was watching some guy's video talking about building a website. He was saying about going to a directory to get articles, going to an article directory and doing that. And from what you're telling me, that's not a good thing to do. Just so
It's questionable.
I mean, does that help in your ranking?
I'm not an SEO guy, but there's guys around that know more than I do. No. And I mean, a lot of those sites got crushed with the last Google update. I mean, we had affiliate sites that were essentially built around stuff like that have been doing thousands of dollars in business for us for years that disappeared. When the Panda came through, they just off the face of the earth. I mean, there were sites that, like JCPenney was doing some really questionable stuff with content farming, which is what you're talking about, with people who are just putting a bunch of articles together and essentially spamming Google, hitting it so hard that they can't help but come up with that content. And what ends up happening, JCPenney went out and started working with educational sites, .edu domains, and paying these guys to put their links up there. Okay, this has been going on for a long time, and it had been moderately effective, but they got stupid and really risky with it, and they started putting like a full page of links with keywords on the thing, to the point where it made it so obvious that they couldn't deny what was happening anymore. And JCPenney got dropped by Google from #1 for most of their search terms to page 74. Okay, might as well go home at that point. If you're an affiliate, I mean, if you drop down to page 74, you're not going anywhere. So you're better off contributing, making good content yourself, building good content yourself. If you want to get out there and comment on other people's sites, do it in a way that's constructive, and don't be spammy with it. And you can see some backlinks coming back. Or if you write good stuff, other people will notice you and they'll link back to you. But going and doing the article thing isn't. It's not.
So it's got to be something you're knowledgeable on.
Right.
All of these resources here are great for business
Right.
too. There's a keynote speaker from the Affiliate Summit. Awesome.
Yeah, he was brilliant.
He's brilliant.
Will Reynolds?
Yeah, that's
Well-
it's free
On
online.
Affiliate Tip, right now,
Yeah.
the top blog post on Affiliate Tip, the keynote from the
Yeah.
Affiliate Summit.
Yeah.
Affiliate Summit.
I firmly believe that if that was the only session you went to at Summit, you could find a way to make money with it.
Yeah.
I mean, that was money.
Where's that way to?
Affiliatetip.com.
Will Reynolds from Sears.
Yeah. Will Reynolds, W-I-L,
Attending this
Reynolds.
session is worth the whole cost of this affiliate summit.
Yeah, because he is not your typical keynote speaker in that he gives you monetizable stuff and posts all his links and the whole thing. He's amazing.